एक्टिव न्यूज चैनल, खबरें वही जो होती हैं सच और असरदार।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम नाजरीन, मैं सैयद शाह एक्टिव न्यूज़ में आपका खैर मकदम करता हूं। आइए देखते हैं।
ग्लैंडेल एकेडमी इंटरनेशनल स्कूल, जिसका 2003 में सन सिटी बंडलागुड़ा में आगाज़ हुआ था। स्कूल की फाउंडर और डायरेक्टर एक्स मिनिस्टर जनाब बशीरुद्दीन बाबू खां की बहू मोहतरमा अंजुम बाबू खां हैं। यहाँ CBSE कोर्स से बच्चे तालीम हासिल कर रहे हैं। अंजुम बाबू खां साइकोलॉजी की तालीम शिकागो लॉयोला यूनिवर्सिटी से हासिल की थी। स्कूल का इनेकाद इस मकसद से किया गया कि इंटरनेशनल तालीमी तर्ज व तरीक़े से अपने वतन के बच्चे भी तालीम हासिल करें। IPT एडिटर M निशा से बात करते हुए मोहतरमा अंजुम बाबू खान ने मज़ीद तफसीलात से वाकिफ़ करवाया। आइए सुनते हैं तफसील।
Exactly Glendale means, and can you tell us something about Glendale Academy?
Yeah. So Glendale Academy was established in 2003, and the vision was to develop character and competence of future global citizens. That is our vision. And our mission is to create learning places that are nurturing spaces for all the multiple intelligences and 21st century skills, life skills of our students. So when we established this in 2003, I think that there is a lot of lofty ideals that we had, aspirations that we had. I think around 2000 we saw a change in education space. I think before that, in the mid-90s and even around 2000, largely most schools in the country followed sort of a rote and regurgitate model. And it really wasn't brain compatible. It really wasn't keeping the students' best interest in mind. They were not transformed by the information that they were memorizing only to give for a test. I have this one quote from Einstein that I quote all the time, his maxim. He said that knowledge is experience and everything else is just information. And when children come into the portals of our institution, we want to create opportunities for their learning and enrichment. So true education needs to be exploratory, enriching, and empowering in many different ways. And for information, no one has to send their kids to a school. You can get that from the computer or even a phone nowadays. Why you come to school is to be given an opportunity where you can experience that information so that it becomes knowledge, like Einstein said, that knowledge is experience. And really that is what we were trying to provide, across our 10-acre campus, with all these, trees and greenery and courtyards and facilities and infrastructure. We really wanted to develop that whole body, mind, and spirit of a child. And that's really what our vision was. And I think that we've come a long way. I think we've, in our journey for good to great, we're very happy with a lot of things, but it doesn't stop here. We're going to continue, growing, because good is the enemy of great. If you think you're going to be good enough, then you're going to stop growing. But we want to continue in this evolving journey.
In your opinion, how important is okay?
Yeah.
How do you encourage them to make better choices?
For their career?
Yeah, for the career.
See, career is actually really important. We believe in learning for life and not just school. And we're very holistic in our approach. In fact, from the time the children get admission, we have a technology partner who helps us to track all of their intelligences, not just their academics, but also their social and emotional traits. And this type of mapping actually is very useful when they are deciding their career and looking at their career journey, because they understand what are the skills that are actually very strong for them. And we have a career counselor that is employed full-time with us, and in addition to that we have career fairs, we have guest speakers from various disciplines. They come and talk to us about what wonderful work they're doing in that particular field or this particular field, so that really inspires our children. Also, from the time they're very young, they also make a lot of field visits and visit different fields, whether it's in the sciences or technology or health field, sports field. And this exposure also helps children to come up and decide what it is that they want to do. You know, where do they feel their calling is? And right now, I mean, we're standing behind these United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. The careers that were there yesterday are not really going to be there tomorrow. So a lot of fields we've seen, they've become, you know, quite disrupted. And, you know, whether it's like Uber or Airbnb, and you've seen Kodak, you know, all these things have been disrupted due to technology. So a lot of the careers that the children will actually go into in the future, they haven't even been discovered yet. So technology disruption is actually altering the field so much that we don't know what type of careers are even going to be available. So the main thing is that the children actually develop these 21st century skills known as the 4 C's: communication, critical thinking, creativity, and collaboration. And that's going to hold them steady in multiple fields. And we also believe in multiple intelligence. So we have artificial intelligence that's going to take over a lot of jobs, but if they can actually focus on what is uniquely human about them, a lot of social and emotional traits, ethics, these are things that artificial intelligence can't take over. And I think these human-only traits are going to be held to be very, very special in the future. So 21st century skills and the human-only multiple intelligence traits.
In the same across the centuries, help us to understand how different does your school education system function?
I think the statement about academics not changing for a very long time is true. The modern public school education system, or the education system, the traditional one, has its roots in the industrial age, which is back in the 1800s. And basically, this is the first time that education became available to the masses. And it was really a means to provide a standardized citizenry to the public, you know, and teach them certain skills where that they can be employed to work in factories and all. Unfortunately, we've seen wonderful transformation in so many different fields, like technology, but education is still to catch up to a lot of what is happening. I feel that we are actually very different in this space, because we're always thinking about how we can make our children future-wise. And Glendale has actually become a thought leader, and we've been a trailblazer for not just now, but for the last couple of decades. For example, we have in our twin focus character and competence, and with this character and competence twin focus, we have created a unique pedagogy to help us develop this art and science of the way that we teach our children. And the way that we do this is, for competence, we are pioneers in establishing multiple intelligence methodology for our children. So we develop that entire whole spectrum of human potential, and we develop that through the multiple intelligences. Aside from that, it's the 21st century skills. So when we look at multiple intelligence and 21st century skills, they're actually congruent, and they're very synergistic. So if you build one, you're actually automatically building the other, and that's really important. And I've actually authored a book called The ABCs of Brain Compatible Learning. And this is really about a neuroscience understanding as to how our brain works. So before, when the education system evolved, we didn't know what was happening in the brain. But now, thanks to scans and all, we understand how the brain is actually functioning internally. So we understand that what methods work in the classroom and what doesn't work. So there's a whole A to Z guide, and our teachers are actually taught this neuroscience of learning. And when we can learn how we learn, we all become smarter in life, our children as well as our teachers. So this is the way that we're developing competence. Now, the other twin of competence is character. And for character, we are largely focusing on three things. So one is our conscious discipline program called RRC, how to be respectful, responsible, and cooperative. Secondly, it's these United Nations Sustainable Development Goals that we have adopted. And we're not only teaching children about the world around them, but we're actually teaching them on how we can sustain the world around them and make it a better place, which is so important. The previous generations have done a great deal of damage. These were conceptualized in 2015. We're in 2020 now, and we only have 10 more years for these goals to be achieved if we're to sustain our planet. And I'm really excited about it because when this was first introduced into the education fraternity, I was the only one from the subcontinent, from India, that was actually at the think tank for global education at Harvard University. Within 10 days of coming back from this think tank, we seamlessly mapped it and integrated into our curriculum right away. And it's become a part and parcel of our curriculum. So it gives the children a lot of great deal to focus on how they can actually be global citizen and proactive agents of change in the world, not tomorrow, but today itself. And thirdly, as far as character is concerned, we've adopted the Leader in Me program. We're the first school in the region to have adopted it. And basically, Leader in Me is basically the 7 habits of highly effective people applied at the student level. And we're actually really excited to hopefully, our accreditation is due later on this year, and we hope to become the first lighthouse school, Leader in Me lighthouse school in India. As of now, there are no other lighthouse schools in India. In fact, in last summer, they actually asked me, Franklin Covey asked me to do the keynote address for, I think there's about 55,000 Leader in Me schools in the world, and there's about 46 countries that the Leader in Me program operates in. But up until now in India, no other school has actually become accredited as a lighthouse school. So we're really looking forward to it. So this is the way, Nisha, that we have actually been, pioneers and trailblazers in education. And we're really trying to develop children holistically, develop that full spectrum of human potential. That's really, really important to us. And this is a unique pedagogy, this unique blueprint for brilliance that we've adopted.
Better tomorrow. How do you discipline them, ma'am?
Actually, the word discipline, definitely they're the future for tomorrow, and we're investing in them today. But I would like to use discipline in a different manner. Actually, the best form of discipline is self-discipline. And at Glendale Academy, we believe in inculcating this conscious discipline. And we have a beautiful program called RRC. And we ask the children, are you being respectful? Are you being responsible? Can you cooperate? And that is the best form of self-discipline that we can actually empower our children with. If we can empower them to make the right choices, to differentiate what is a good choice, what is a not so good choice, and to make those decisions for themselves and have that intrinsic motivation to make the right choices, that is when we can actually achieve conscious discipline. And so this is RRC. In fact, I have 3 boys. I've raised 3 boys, and it always worked beautifully. Because anytime I saw them doing something they were not supposed to do, I simply asked the question, are you being respectful? Are you being responsible? And they would be like, no, Mom. And then I would ask, can you cooperate? So that internal self-regulation is actually the best form of conscious discipline.
Can we know about few of your achievements and benchmarks?
Actually, the achievements have been so many, by God's grace. I think we worked very hard for many years, and for the last number of years we've received a lot of recognition, particularly in innovative pedagogy, particularly in instructional leadership, educational leadership, inspirational leadership. We've gotten a lot of recognition for our infrastructure, for the different programs that we're having for the children, our teaching of life skills and development. So many different awards. I mean, I don't know how to even go through. There's literally like dozens and dozens of awards. But I'm really happy that very recently the Council of International Schools, they actually gave us recognition and accreditation within one single visit. They were so impressed with what we were doing and what we had actually, implemented at the school. So that's really been like a big pat on the back. So we're part of that. Is there any other benchmarks that you'd like me to talk about?
Awards
Many awards. I will actually supply that list. It's like an endless list. If you walk around anywhere, the schools, it's like all the walls have all these different awards that we've achieved. Our children, in fact, have actually gotten 500 medals just from June itself in sports. So it's not just that the school is getting awards, our children are getting awards in visual and performing arts, but in sports in particular, they've gotten 500, which is, I think, a monumental amount of awards across the different sports. In addition to that, our CBSE nationals, our football team has gone to the CBSE nationals 2 years in a row. So whether it's in academics or in sports, our children are doing really well. In terms of results of the school, year after year, 100% of our students, they pass with first class. 90% of them actually are passing with distinction in CBSE. So we're really proud of that. In addition to that, Cambridge is also doing phenomenally well. In fact, one of our students recently, Arib Hussain, he actually got a Cambridge Learners Award as a world recognition for being top in the world in mathematics. So we're getting recognition through our students, through our good work, through our teachers, through our thought leadership and innovation in pedagogy.
Actually, you are a psychological student. What inspired you to come to start a education industry?
Yes, so basically, yes, I was a student of psychology. I was very passionate about human development, understanding human development. I was fascinated with the way the brain works. I didn't expect to go into education when I was in college until my husband proposed and brought me to Hyderabad. And I knew that, I had the education space to say, try out my psychology. And I think it's been a very beautiful marriage between psychology and education. In fact, I wrote my book, The ABCs of Brain Compatible Learning, and a lot of it is based on neuroscience and developmental theory of children. I talk about Erik Erikson in that. I talk about Maslow in that. Particularly when it comes to Maslow, there's this hierarchy of human needs, and intellectual needs is like somewhere right in the middle. But I talk to teachers about how there are so many human needs that precede intellectual needs, and how the teachers have to be conscientious of that, conscientious of their, not just their physical safety, but their emotional safety. Is it emotionally safe? Is their classroom bully free? Is it intellectually safe for them to clear a doubt in the classroom? Have they made friends? Has the teacher done activities to bond and connect with their child? These are all the things that actually lead up to intellectual needs. When a teacher feels self-efficacy, right? So if a teacher believes in the child, believes that he or she can learn, building their self-esteem, then a child is really ready to learn and flourish and grow and realize his potential. So I use a lot of psychology, a lot of neuroscience in what we're doing. The theory of multiple intelligence itself is from psychology. The different ways that we learn, how memory is formed, how intelligence is developed, how cognition takes place, how we grow socially, culturally, We use Vygotsky, Erickson. So the entire, kind of rock stars of psychology are definitely used in our Glendale group of institutions.
Thanks for joining.